Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of clarinets, cats, and coffee. I'm not drinking coffee right now because I've had enough today. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to discuss a piece of advice that likes to make its way around social media every once in a while. And I've gotten a few questions about this lately from students, and the question is, what do you think about jumping right into fast practice from the beginning of the learning process? So this is kind of a loaded question, and I think a lot more than what shorts and reels and TikTok videos or whatever can actually dive into, because it can be good, but you have to have a good foundation of a lot of experience built up before actually jumping into fast practice right away. So first thing I'm gonna do is just put this in your mind right now, okay? Now, imagine I just asked you to jump on a tightrope, juggle 5 balls in the air, and sing supercalifragilistic over boiling lava. Like, you would immediately tense up, right? And if you had to do it and you did it, you'd probably drop the balls and not be able to sing, and maybe even just fall to your death. Maybe that's a little extreme. So you gotta think about practicing really difficult music at a fast tempo, kind of like that. You wouldn't want to just jump right into it right away because number one, it's scary, and number two, you've got to train yourself. You got to train yourself to play with relaxed control. I want you guys to think about practicing as an opportunity for you to teach yourself how to do things, right? You are your teacher, right? You are your own greatest teacher. So when you're sitting there, you got to think about what your priorities are. So if your priority is to play with relaxed control, you have to start from a point where you can actually think about what you are doing. So sure, maybe you can play a C major scale in 16th notes at 104 to the quarter note. No problem. Great. But maybe you've got a run of 6 tuplets that have some arpeggios mixed in between, and it kind of jumps up and down, and you're kind of stumbling a little bit. Now, if you really think about it, there is probably a point in that music where you're not able to think 100% clearly about what you're playing and what you have to do, right? So I always say start from a place where you can actually think about what you're doing. And it's more than just getting the right notes and getting the right rhythms. It's also about maintaining that relaxed control over your breathing and mindfulness over what your fingers are doing and how you're blowing your air, and many, many more fundamentals, right? What's happening with your embouchure, all of that. So it's a lot of stuff that you're literally juggling all at once. So you need to start from a place where you can coordinate all of those things all at the same time. Now, I want to just put a couple of things up here on the screen for you to think about, right? So if you go into your practice session with the approach that this is an opportunity to teach myself something, if you try to jump in to playing fast right from the beginning, you're going to teach yourself, and this is assuming that you cannot yet play the passage, right? If you try to do it up to speed right from the beginning, you're going to teach yourself, number one, how to play this passage with complete anxiety and chaos and lack of clarity. You're going to teach yourself to be tense while you play. You may teach yourself how to play it with wild and crazy fingers. You're going to teach yourself how to play it 30 times wrong and maybe 1 time right. Imagine that all the reps you do are adding to a piggy bank. 2 different piggy banks. You've got your correct piggy bank, your incorrect piggy bank, right? So if you're playing in a chaotic way, your embouchure is not doing what it's supposed to, fingers flailing, you're going to be dropping pennies in your incorrect bank, right? You're going to be pretty poor in the correct reps. So chances of you playing it correctly when you actually need to in performance, pretty slim. So this brings me to slow practice, right? When we jump into slow practice, we're adding to the correct reps. We're teaching our brain, our fingers, our mind how to do something correctly. And when we practice slowly, we teach ourselves how to breathe and play the passage in a relaxed way. Relaxed air in, relaxed air out. We can teach ourselves, if we really focus, how to play with controlled fingers. No flailing pinkies, no wild left hand jumping around. Nice controlled, relaxed hands and fingers. We teach ourselves the correct notes. We teach ourselves the correct rhythms. And we can even teach ourselves how to play it expressively, like a musician, right? There's a lot we can teach ourselves by starting with slow practice. Once you've done all this, right? Let's say I've convinced you to start with slow practice on extremely difficult music. There is a place for fast practice, and we do actually need fast practice. And it's more than just clicking up the metronome and being, working it up. Like, that is part of it, right? Starting with a slow tempo and working yourself up to a faster tempo. And of course, we want our comfort zone to be increasing little by little from the slow to the fast, right? With bringing all of those good fundamentals and all of that mindfulness and relaxed control with us. So one really useful thing that I have implemented into practicing, and I recommend you try it out too, is to try practicing in smaller chunks when you're working up a difficult passage to a faster tempo. And my favorite thing, I love this, you do a little chunk, maybe like 4 notes. You do another little chunk, maybe another 4 notes, and you do those up to tempo separately. And then you squish them together. So then you're playing that whole chunk up to tempo. And you add another little chunk, maybe go back and review, add another chunk, put those together. So by stringing together small chunks, you can then teach yourself how to play a passage at tempo by implementing the small chunk rule. A lot of times when we try to do large passages from slow to fast, the chaos of the speed can sometimes clutter things up again. So I recommend small chunk practice for fast practicing, okay? That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for listening. If you have questions or anything you want to add to this, I would love for you guys to leave them in the comments below. One book to check out is The Talent Code, which I absolutely love, and it's really a great tool for practicing. But if you guys have any other things that you'd like to add, any other practice books, practice tips, leave them in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a good week next week, and as always, happy practicing.